Sir, we can start, sir.
Yeah. Shruti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. With the abundant blessings of our Acharya, we are going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are now on chapter 6. Last week, we were referring to the national crisis and certain stotras instructed by our Acharya Swami for chanting by all of us. And there was Dasamba Jayanti last Sunday. And we were asked to do Narasimha Puja and chanting of Narasimha Karavalam Stotram of Adi Shankara. All that has borne fruit, and we are now heading towards peace. Now, in chapter 6, we are in Dhyana Yoga, yoga of meditation. Meditation techniques and whether one should continue to meditate when he is in Karma Yoga state, etc., was all addressed by Bhagavan in the earlier slokas. Now, the control of the mind, which is the essential thing in Dhyana Yoga, which will lead to focus on Paramatma and removal of focus on mundane matters. This has been emphasized by Bhagavan in many shlokas. Now Arjuna is led to ask a question at this stage. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yoga svaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pachyami chanchalatva sthitim sthiram. Hey Madhusudana, killer of Asura called Madhu Kaitaba. Two Asuras are talked about in the first chapter of Durga Saptashati. Both of them were exterminated by Vishnu with the grace of Devi. So here we are talking about Yoyam Yogaha Taya Proktaha Samyena. Ayam Yoga, this yoga which you have been talking about, this Dhyana Yoga which you have been talking about, Taya Proktaha, which you have been talking about. That yoga, Samyena means Samatvena, means the mind should be at peace. Mind should not go here and there. Mind should be at peace. Samyena. Peace focusing on Paramatma. That's what you said in your explanation. Etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthitim sthiram. Etasya refers to the mind, because yoyam yogaha taya proktaha samyena. That samyena refers to the mind only. Mind has to be at peace. So etasya refers to the mind. He says, aham na pashyami etasya chanchalatvat sthiram sthitim. Chanchalatvat, since this mind is basically fickle in nature, unsteady in nature, that is a given, that cannot be changed. When we were born, we are all born with a fickle mind, all of us, all human beings. So he says, that is the given. So when that is the given, you are talking about sthiram sthitim. free from unsteadiness, perfectly steady state. Stiram Stitim, perfectly steady state. Aham na pashyami. I don't see it happening for the mind. I don't see it happening for the mind that it will attain a steady state, a perfectly steady state, because by nature it is fickle and unsteady. So whatever you said about dhyana yoga, that is all focused on the mind being steady. It is all based on mind being steady. So when mind is not steady, the entire dhyana yoga comes to naught. So what do I do? Chanchalam me mana Krishna pramati bhalavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Hey Krishna, manaha chanchalam hi. Manas, the mind, is certainly unsteady. He refers to certainty. It is certainly unsteady. There is no doubt about it. Pramati balavadridham. Pramati means it tortures. Actually, Pramati is Samudra Manthanam, we say, isn't it? Manthanam is churning of the ocean. So, Pramati comes from the same root. That means it churns. The mind has got a habit of churning with various thoughts, one after the other. Thousands of thoughts come in a churning process. Bhalavad, by force. You cannot escape it. It happens by force. There's no way you can escape it. Samathnati shariram indriyani cha vikshipati sat paravashi karoti. The body as well as the sense organs, it tortures, torments this mind. Balavat kavalam na kenachit niyantam shakyam durnivaratvad, because it is extremely difficult to control. Durnivaratvad. Because it is impossible to control. He says, Balavat. Dridam means very hard. It cannot be broken. A hard surface, if you hit with a hammer, it will not break. So similarly, the mind is hard. Hard means what? If it takes a particular stand, it doesn't go from there. That is the problem. By force, it sticks to that stand. So, achedyam, it cannot be broken. So, that is the state of the mind. Hey Krishna, this is the state of the mind. Tasya nigraham aham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Tasya, of that mind, nigraham, controls, aham manye, I consider, sudushkaram, impossible. Dushkaram means impossible. Sudushkaram means very much impossible, highly impossible. Just as vayoho yiva, just as you cannot control air movement. Nowadays we talk about creating vacuum. But if you ask the scientists, they will tell you that 100% vacuum is nearly impossible. There is always certain amount of air. Air has got a tendency to move. Air by nature, chalanam, that is its tendency. That is designed like that. So he says, just as air cannot be controlled and stopped from movement, similarly, it is impossible, highly impossible to control this mind. That is what I feel. Aham manye, I consider. Yatha vayoho dushkarah nirodhah tadapi manasah dushkaram manye iti abhiprayah. Just as vayu is difficult to control, same thing. Now, this samyena in the last shloka is explained by Brahmanandagiri as manasaha laya vikshepa shunyatvena atmekaagarataya avasthana rupena. Manas has got a tendency to vikshepa, that means go in different directions. And vikshepa shunyatvena, because it is prevented from distraction. Atma ekakarataya avasthana established firmly in Atma ekakarataya. It has become one with Atma. He is not saying it is focused on Atma. Focusing means still there is a chance of getting away from the focus. It has become one with Atma. The focus stage is over. It has become one with Atma. Atma ekakarataya. That is Samya. Samya in a word is being explained by Ramanujagiri this way. Now, Yoga Vasishtam has got a statement on this difficulty of controlling the mind. Yoga Vasishtam says, yes, it is very difficult. Apyabdhipanatmahatah smerun moolanati abhivanyasanath sadho vishamah chitta nigraha. He is quoting 3 reference points. He says, Abdhipanat api mahataha. It is more difficult than even breaking the entire ocean. That means also difficult. He is giving such examples which are even impossible to imagine. It was only Agastya, which is Siddhi. He was able to drink the ocean in the palm of his hand, Achamana. So it's not given to ordinary people. So Apyadhipanat Mahataha Sumerun Moolanadapi Sumeru Unmoolanadapi. If you can uproot Sumeru mountain is the biggest, tallest, heaviest mountain. So there's no question of uprooting. Api Vanyasanath Sadho, can you eat fire? Vanyasanath. So these 3, in comparison with these 3, Api Vishamaha Chitta Nigraha, it is more difficult. Controlling the mind is more difficult than all these 3. Maybe by some siddhi you can do one of these 3 or more than one of these 3. But it is impossible to control the mind. Yoga Vasishtam says that. Now, in this context, this term Krishna has been used many times already, but here in this particular shloka, somehow Adi Shankara thought it fit to explain the term Krishna. He says, Krishna iti krishatehe vilekhanarthasya rupam. That means breaking, cutting through. That is Vilekhana, Krisha. That is why Krishi is called, agriculture is called Krishi, because you break the ground. When you plow the ground, actually what do? You break. So Krishna means one who breaks. What does he break? Bhakta jana papadi dosha akarshanate Krishnaha. Devotees, sins, papadi dosha, various deficiencies, various faults, like sins, all of them, Karshanat, he breaks, he cuts through them. Once you surrender to Krishna, he takes care of all your sins. So that is why he is called Krishna. That is the explanation he gives in this context. Now, if you are able to cut through all the sins, you should also be able to tell me a way of controlling this mind. That is perhaps the indirect sense which Adi Shankara is trying to tell us. Of course, the term Krishna has been interpreted in many ways. Many meanings are there for the term Krishna. In fact, there is an entire adhyaya, entire chapter in Mahabharatam gave many meanings. Another very common meaning is Akarshana, that means attracts. Krishna's form, Krishna's leelas are all so attractive. Nobody will say, I don't like Krishna. So, he attracts you towards himself and removes all your sins. So, attraction is the other meaning. So, like this, there are many meanings. So, now Arjuna has made the point that it is impossible to control the mind. How do you expect that I will be able to control and focus all your Upadesha is based on ultimately controlling the mind. How is it possible? Arjuna Uvacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Prokta Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na pashyami Chanchalatva Sthitim Sthiram Chanchalam He Mana Krishna Pramati Balavadridham Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayor Sudushkaram Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Katham Chayam Mahabhavo Manodur Nigraham Chalam Abhyatena tu Kaunteye Vairagyena Grishyate. Bhagavan did not disagree. That is the most interesting thing. He says, Asamshayam Mahabaho. Yes, it is without doubt. What you say is absolutely correct. No doubt about it. Hey, mighty Arjuna, you may be mighty, Mahabaho, very able warrior, capable warrior. But when it comes to controlling the mind, you can control a large army. But when it comes to controlling the mind, it is very difficult. Manodur Nigraham Chalam. Yes, mind is very difficult to control and it has the habit of being unsteady. Chalam. Durnigraham, difficult to control. Chalam, unsteady, fickle. Yes, Asamshayam, without doubt. He accepts it. Then what is the way out? He's telling the way out. Abhyatena dakonte vairagyena cha grishyate. Grishyate. That control is attained. That control of the mind is attained. He kaunteya. Son of Kunti. By two means. Abhyasena and vairagyena. Abhyasa is continuous practice. Don't feel dejected. After some practice, people will feel, I have done so much of practice. I don't find any improvement. In fact, this happens with any sadhana. Any sadhana, we don't find perceptible improvement or change quickly. That is because of the starting point. Our starting point is so weak. Naturally, it takes a lot of effort. So, the abhyasa is required. Without no letting, continuously. Practice. Vairagyena. When you practice control of the mind, you must ensure that your mind is detached from worldly interests. Because what are you controlling the mind for? You are controlling the mind for focusing on Paramatma and taking away from worldly attachments. So taking away from worldly attachments is a part of this process. So that part should not be neglected. I am controlling the mind all the time, fine, but my aim is to attain a certain worldly fruit. There is no use. Yes, there is abhyasa, no doubt, but it is not vairagya. Both are required. Yes, I am practicing control of the mind, but my aim is to, that is what asuras do. They do very hard tapas, thousands of years, but their aim is to get some boon from Bhagavan for killing devas and for such negative purposes. So that is what is emphasized here. Abhyasena, vairagyena. Both are equally important. Mere vairagya is not enough. You have to practice abhyasa because the vairagya will not stick. Vairagya is also chanchala. It will not stick to you. For making it stick, you need abhyasa. Vairagya is drishta ishta bhogeshu dosha dakshinabhyasad vaikrishnyam. This is Adi Shankara's explanation. What is vairagya? Well, we have been seeing vairagya earlier also. Now, he is using this occasion to explain it again. Drishta ishta bhogeshu. Whatever enjoyments you desire, seen and unseen, drishta adrishta. Certain enjoyments you have seen, certain enjoyments you have not seen, but you entertain a great desire for that enjoyment. What you should do? Dosha darshana abhyasas. In all those enjoyments, you should look at the deficiency part, the fault part. That is not an enjoyment really. It looks like an enjoyment. It is full of dosha. Dosha darshana abhyasas. That also will not come in one go. You have to keep practicing. The why Vairagyana has been put along with practice. Even while defining Vairagya, he is using the word Abhyasa. He is defining Vairagya. He says, Nishtadishta Ishtabhogeshu Dosadarshana Abhyasat Vaitrishnam. Vaitrishnam means lack of desire. Removing desire. Trishna is desire. So removing of desire has to be practiced. How to practice? I like a certain thing. How do I practice removing my desire from that particular item which is very much to my liking? No, you should remove the liking first. Dosha darshana, you should know, because already Bhagavan has said, whatever you consider as pleasure, dukkha yonaya evate, adyantamantah kaunteya. I said already. All pleasures which you consider as pleasure are going to end in misery. No doubt, there's no exception. Dukkha yonaya eva. Emphasis was there. They have to end in misery. Beginning, they may look very attractive, but they will end in misery. Adyantavantaha. They have a beginning and they have an end. There is no pleasure which has no beginning or no end. Every pleasure starts and ends. There is no continuous 100% all the time available. No such pleasure is there. So, even if such a pleasure exists, the mind will be bored with that. So that is also misery. So he says, Ishtadrishta Ishtabhogeshu Dosha Darshana Abhyasad Vaitrishnam. What is Abhyasa? Chittabhomo Kasyanchit Samana Pratyavrittihi Chittasya. Chittabhomo. On the plane of the mind, you have to force a particular idea. Samana pratyaya avrittihi. That idea has to be implanted in the mind repeatedly. Avritti. Kasyanchit. It may be any idea. Because he is defining abhyasa. So any idea means any idea related to Paramatma in the context in which we are discussing. Because some people may not be able to concentrate on Nirguna Brahma. They want a Saguna Brahma. They want Krishna. They want Shiva. They want Devi. They want the face of the Devi. They want face of Krishna. They want Krishna with a flute. This kind of variation. So he says, fix your mind on a particular samana pratyaya avrittihi chittasya. That is abhyasa. Making an unchanging idea prevail on a given plane of mind. What is a given plane of mind? That means mind has got a tendency to move here and there, isn't it? Don't allow it to move. And fix it on a particular plane and fix it on this particular aim. So that is abhyasa. Vairagyena drishyate viksheparupah pracharah chittasya. Vikshepa is distraction. Distraction of the mind is arrested by vairagya, by developing detachment. So this abhyasa and vairagya, in fact, are extremely important for our progress in any marga. Even if you take out the dhyana marga, I will continue only in karma marga or bhakti marga or jnana marga. Any marga, abhyasa and vairagya are basic. You can get away from them. In fact, because it is connected with mind control. Without mind control, nothing happens. Patanjali has emphasized this aspect. He says, abhyasa vairagya abhyam tannirodha. In fact, Bhagavan has taken the same phrases from Patanjali only. Abhyasa vairagya abhyam tannirodha. Tannirodha, the control of the mind, happens with only abhyasa and vairagya, practice and detachment. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamchayam Mahabaho Manodurnigraham Chalam Abhyasena Tukaunteya Vairagyena Chagrihyate Asamyatatmana Yogo Dushprapiti Me Matihi Vashyatmana Yatata Kakyo Vaptumupayataha. Now, if you say, no, all this is difficult, I will not do it, then it is no good. You will not make any progress. This is essential. So that point he is making now clearly. Asamyata Atmana. Here Atma should be interpreted as mind, Antakarana. Asamyata, uncontrolled. With uncontrolled mind, yogaha dushprapaha. You cannot make any progress in yoga. Dushprapa means difficult to attain. Yoga is difficult to attain. Which yoga? Dhyana yoga. Because we are on Dhyana yoga subject. Dhyana yoga, dhyana by definition means focusing the mind on Paramatma. So if you are not able to control the mind, what is the question of focusing it? So, dushprapa. Iti me matihi. This is my opinion. Vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptamupayataha. Vashyatmana, on the other hand, first was asamyatatmana. Second is Vashyatmana, one who has controlled the mind. One who has kept the mind under his control, under his sway, under his vasha, Vashyatmana. And then he is making full effort, yatata, full effort. He is putting in full effort for attaining Paramatma. He has controlled the mind, he is making full effort. Shakyaha avaptum upayata. There are means, like karma yoga, like jnana yoga. There are means. By adopting some means, avaptum shakyaha. What is avaptum shakyaha? Yoga. Because yoga is proper, he said. So same noun comes here. Yoga avaptum shakyaha. It is possible to attain yoga. You can attain fruition of jnana yoga by adopting some means. There are many means which he has given us earlier. So many means he has given. So many yajnas he mentioned in the last chapter. So you can follow any of them. And then try to control your mind. Once you have controlled the mind, your job is very well done. Asamyatatmana yoga dushprapa iti me matihi vashyatmana tu yatata jakyo vaptamupayataha Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayo peto yoga charitamanasaha aprapya yoga siddham satyam kamgatam krishna gacchati. Now Arjuna has gone to a different question, different facet of Dhyana. Yes, okay, I agree. We will do Abhyasa and Vairagya. But if a person dies without attaining the aim, very good question he is asking. He has devoted himself to Dhyana Yoga, but he has not attained perfection. Before that he dies, what happens to him? Ayati shraddhayopetaha yogat chalitamansah aprapya yoga samsiddhim kamgatam krishna gacchati. Shraddha yogat chalitamansah shraddhayopetaha ayatihi. Ayatihi means he has not put in proper effort. If he has put in proper effort, he would have attained the goal. He has not attained the goal because he has not put in the proper efforts. Shraddhaya upetaha, but he has got full shraddha, full faith. Faith is very important. If you don't have faith, nothing will work. That he has mentioned earlier. So many times it has been mentioned. Shraddha is basic. So he has full faith in what Bhagavan has given instruction. All the instructions, he has full faith. Yoga marge shraddhaya astitya buddhya cha upetaha. In the yoga marga which has been taught by Bhagavan, he has full faith and he knows it will be leading to the goal. Astitya buddhya. It is there. It is effective. Yoga antakale cha chalitam manasam manah yasya saha drashtamanasah. Drashtasmritihi. That is, at the end, when he leaves the body, his mind is not steady. Chalitam manasah. It is an unsteady mind. Drashtamanasah. So naturally his mind is not fully pure. Little impurity is there. Drashtasmritihi. So he has lost the memory of the goal to be attained. If he had full attention on the goal, this will not happen. But that has happened. It happens to all human beings. After all, we are human. So, apraprya yoga samsiddhim, yoga phalam samyak darshanam. What is the yoga samsiddhi, the fruit of yoga? What is the fruit? Fruit is samyak darshanam, perfect jnana, perfect perception. That is yoga phala, yoga samsiddhi, yoga phala, the fruit of yoga. Yoga is not the end in itself. Yoga, finally, we have all this finally has to end in jnana. That he has mentioned earlier also. Everything has to end in jnana. There is nothing equivalent to jnana in purifying. He has made mention. So, go to jnana. Whether you attain through karma marga without jnana yoga, or karma marga with jnana yoga, and only jnana yoga without karma. All alternatives they have mentioned earlier. Finally, you have to reach jnana. So, you have not reached aprapya yoga samsiddhim. The final goal of yoga has not been attained. Kam gatim gacchati. Such a person, what is the state he attains? Where does he go when he leaves the body? His further progress, how will it happen? That is the question. Because after all, he has not attained moksha, obviously. He has not attained jnana, he has not attained moksha. That means his rebirth is assured. If his rebirth is assured, what is has he to start all over again from the beginning? What all his efforts have completely gone in vain? That is the question. Very interesting question. योगाभ्यास अंगीकरणेन इहलोक परलोक प्राप्ति निमित्तानि कर्माणि संन्यस्तानि योग सिद्धि परम से मोक्ष साधनम सम्यक दर्शनम न प्राप्तम. This idea is getting more clarified in the next shloka, so we will see that and then come back to this. Kachinno bhaya vigrashta chinna abdamiv nashyati apratishtho mahabaho vimudho brahmana prati. Kachit means it's a question. Is it like that? That is the question. In Valmiki Ramayana, there is a very famous sarga called the Kachit sarga. There every shloka will start with Kachit. That is when Bharata goes and meets Rama. It comes in Ayodhya Kanda. When Bharata goes and meets Rama, Rama makes this inquiry. This is Rama's inquiry, one whole sarga of the state of the kingdom under Bharata's rule. So he is asking so many questions. Is it like this? Is it like that? Have you taken care of this? Have you taken care of that? Have you appointed proper army commander? Have you taken care of brahmanas? Are they conducting yagas? Are they reminding you in time? Like this. Many questions are there. So everything starts with Kachit. It's a very famous sarga in Ramayana. So here also Kachit. What is the question? Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtaha. Ubhaya vibhrashtaha. Na ubhaya vibhrashtaha. Ubhaya vibhrashtaha means lost on both counts. Lost on both counts. Chinna brahmiva na nashyati. Na is coming before. Kachit na ubhaya vibhrashtaha. Chinna brahmiva na nashyati. Chinna abrahmiva, like a cloud which has been broken. Clouds are meant for giving rain, but when it is about to rain, a strong wind comes and it breaks the cloud. Yes, we are seeing, isn't it? So the purpose of the cloud formation is lost, no rain. It gets dispersed. So he says, he is giving the example. Chinna abhramiva, like broken cloud formation, anashyati. Is it not meeting with destruction? What is not meeting with destruction? This jiva who has dropped his body, because he is ubhaya vibhrashtaha, he has lost both. What is both? Both is, one is yoga, another is karma. he has dropped all his karmas in the process of emphasizing, practicing Jnana Yoga. So he has dropped his karmas because you have permitted that. If you are very keen, if you have reached that kind of perfection, you can drop karma. Karma will automatically drop. So since he has dropped karmas, whatever normal fruits accrue because of karmas, like Agnihotra, like Yaga, etc., they are all having fruits on earth as well as in Surga. Now all those fruits are gone now because he didn't complete all those karmas. Okay. Then he came to Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga also he didn't get perfection. So Ubhaya Vibrashtaha, he lost on both counts. योगाभ्यास अंगीकरणेन यहलोक परलोकाप्य निमित्तानि कर्माणि संन्यस्तानि all karmas leading to well-being in this world as well as in the next world have all been dropped. Yogaabhyasa angikaranena, because he put all his attention on yogaabhyasa. Yoga siddhi paramcha moksha sadhanam samyak darshanam na praptam. The final stage of moksha sadhana, the final stage of means of moksha, that is samyak darshanam, the right jnana. That also not praptam. That was the yoga siddhi param. That fruit is also not there. So, Ubhaya Vibrashta, he has lost on both counts. Apratishta, unestablished, unestablished in Brahmana Pati, in the path of attaining Brahma. Brahmana Pati Apratishta. Pratishta well established. Apratishta not well established. Not well established in what? In the path which will lead to Parabrahma. So, why he is not well established? Because he has lost on both counts. He has dropped karma, he has not attained perfection yoga. So, he is apratishta. Vimudha, he is confounded. Why he is confounded? Because at the last minute, he realizes, when he drops his body, he realizes that he has lost on both counts. So, he gets confounded. So, what will happen to him? This jiva, who has lost on both counts, he is not getting the fruit of Agnihotra, Yaga, etc., karma, which has dropped. He is not getting the fruit of Jnana Yoga because he didn't attain perfection. And he has dropped his body. He is dead. What will happen to him? That is the question. Very interesting question. Arjuna Uvacha Ayati Shraddhayo Vedo Yoga Chalitamansah Aprapya Yoga Samsiddham Kamgatim Krishna Rikshati Kachinno Bhaya Vibrashtaha Chinna Brahme Vanashyati Apratishto Mahabhavu Vimudho Brahmanasvati Etanme Samshayam Krishna Chetumarghasya Sheshataha Tadanyastam Chedasyasya Chetanakyupapadyate. Now he is submitting to Bhagavan's grace. You only should clear this doubt. Etat me samshayam. This is my doubt. Hey Krishna, Chetumarghasi Asheshataha. Asheshataha completely, with no balance. You only can clear this doubt. Chetu means breaking the doubt. That means clarifying. You only can do it. Tadanya samshayasya shaitana kupapadyate. Can I go to someone else for clearing this doubt? No. Tadanyaha, other than you, asya samshayasya, for this doubt, shaitana kupapadyate. The breaker of this doubt, that means the person who can clarify properly, is not available. Now upapadyate. Other than you, no other person is available who can clarify this doubt. So please clarify. You only can clarify this doubt. That is the prayer. Then Bhagavan gives the answer. Shri Bhagavan Vach Parthanaivedana Mutra Vinasastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Kashyate Durgatim Tadagachati. It's a very famous sloka, particularly the second half. Nahi kalyana krit kashchit durgatim tat gacchati. Very famous, oft quoted, because it's an assurance by Bhagavan. Question, he is giving a positive reply. He says, He Partha, son of Pritha, यह न यह न अमुत्र तस्य विनाशः विद्यते न यह neither here न अमुत्र nor in the next world, either here nor in the next world his destruction exists. तस्य विनाशः विद्यते. That means there is no destruction for him, there is no decay in his position, there is no dilution in his position, either here or in the next world. In fact, the first sentence itself is enough. Now he is always Bhagavan emphasizes his point so that our doubts are 100% clear. So he is emphasizing it. Now he is also emphasizing. Kalyana Kriti, this man whom you talked about, should he not be described as Kalyana Kriti? Kalyana Kriti means one who has been on auspicious path, one who is doing auspicious deeds. What is auspicious? Good for the soul, good for Atma. Good for Atma, that is Kalyana Kriti. So a person who has been doing all auspicious deeds, good for his Atma, whoever it may be. He may be the worst sinner. He is going to say that in another sloka later. He may be the worst sinner on earth before he embarked on this program. But now he has embarked on this program. Now he is Kalyana Kriti. Kashchit, so whoever it may be, na durgatim gacchati, he will never go to a bad state. He will never go to a bad state. That means after leaving the body, he will not have to start from the beginning. So that state will never happen to him. Tata is a form of address, which has been explained by Shankara very nicely. Actually, Tata means father. Now, he is nicely explained. Tanoti atmanam putra rupena iti pita tataha uchyate. Tanoti atmanam putra rupena. Because the Veda says, Atma vai putraha. The father himself is born as the son. His Atma is only born as the son. That's what Veda says. So Tanoti means he considers his son as his own Atma. That is what Veda also says. So that is why father is called Tata. Father is called Tata because he considers the son as the father. Now, father is calling the son as Tata here because Krishna is the father. I mean, equivalent to a father, Guru. And Arjuna is the Shishya, like a son. So why? So the role is reversed. That also is explaining. Pita eva putraha iti putraha api tataha uchyate. Since father only has been born as the son, since father is known as Tata, there is no harm in calling Putra also as Tata. This is the explanation, very interesting explanation. In fact, it is very Tata is a very affectionate address. His son calling his father as Tata, or father calling the son as Tata, both are out of lot of affection. So it's an affectionate term. Now look at the term he is using, Bhagavan is using. So far you are saying Mahabhavo, etc., etc. Arjuna, Kaunteya, Partha. Suddenly he turned to Tata because, oh son, why are you worried about unnecessary? I am giving you the assurance. No harm will happen to this second person. So, with a fatherly affection, he is giving this assurance. That is why this statement is extremely popular. Nahi kalyana krit kashchit durgatim tata gacchati. When I was in Mumbai, we were constructing a Prakriya center many years ago in Navi Mumbai. And the president of that trust, which was constructing the Prakriya, I was the member and structural engineer for that structure at that point, many years ago. And that president, he used this phrase, Nahi Kalyana Kashyati Durgadam Tada Gacchati, as the logo of the trust. The trust had a logo, and this was the logo chosen by him. Because he said, because this is connected with upper kriyas, no? We are talking about a person leaving his body, etc. So he chose this very apt. Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinataha Tasya Vidyate. So there is no destruction. What is destruction? Purvasmatra Hena Janma Prapti. That is the explanation given by Adi Shankara himself. That is, whatever body he has left, he will not go into a body lower than that, at least. That is Nasha. What is destruction? Because he said, Na Vinashaha Tasya Na Vidyate. No destruction will happen to him. What is destruction? That means he will not get into a body lower than what he is. Kalyana Kriti, Shastra Vihita Kari, because he has followed the rules of Shastras. So he is doing something good for his Atma. Kalyana for his Atma. Ramananda says this. I think I picked up on Subhashitam for this shloka. Yes. It's a very famous Subhashita. In fact, there are many shlokas like this I picked up on. Mritam Shariram Utsrujya Kashtaloshtopamamshito Vimukha Bandhavayanti Dhammatvevo Nugachyati. That is the importance, the significance of our sticking to dharma at all times. That is being brought out here in this shloka. Mritam Shariram Utsrujya Kashtaloshtopamam Shitau Bandhavaha Vimukhaha Yanti. When the person dies, what do the relatives do? The relatives leave the dead body like what? Like a piece of stone, like a piece of wood. They don't care for the body any more than they care for a piece of stone or a piece of wood. Leaving it on the ground like a piece of wood, like a piece of stone. Vimukha, not even looking at him. They turn the other way. They turn the other way. They don't want to look at the body anymore. This person who was so dear to so many relatives all this time now has become unwanted. So Vimukha, Bandhava Yanti, Dharma then what follows him to the other world? Only Dharma. Dharmastu Ekaha Anugachyati. Only Dharma follows him on this path when he leaves the body. So to emphasize that it is only Dharma. Dharma means whatever punya and papa you have accumulated, they will follow you along with your sukshma sharira. So no relative can help you, no relative will even look at you. So that is what Kalyana Kriti. So if you are a Kalyana Kriti, if you have been following Dharma, and if you have been following your intention of being on this path of Jnana Yoga, then you are a Kalyana Kriti. So he is giving the Bhagavan giving this assurance that there is no vinasha for him, and what will happen to him further he is going to explain in the next shloka. Very interesting shlokas. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः तदन्यसंशयस्य चेत्तमनक्षुपपद्यते श्रीभगवानुवाच पार्थ नैवेह नामुत्र नमस्तस्य विद्यते न हि कल्याणकृत् कश्चित् दुर्गतिं गच्छति प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वतीः समाः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेः योगभ्रष्टो विजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. He is giving two answers to that question. It is Kamdatim Krishna Gacchati. is the gati for him? He has said there is no vinasha for him. That is not a perfect answer, isn't it? He will not be born into your body lower than his. That is the interpretation given by the commentator. But that is not a direct answer, isn't it? What will happen to him? That is the question. Now that answer is coming. Two things will happen to him. One or the other. Two alternatives. One shloka is the first alternative. Second shloka is the second alternative. Let us first look at the first one. Prapya punyakritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha. Prapya punyakritam lokan. He will go to worlds which are attained by those who have got punya to their account. Those who are having punya to their have got a lot of punya, they will go to Swarga and similar lokas, Gandharva loka, etc. So, punyakritam lokani, to those lokas, he goes proper, he attains. He just goes for a visit 5 minutes, no. Many, many years. Samaha means years. Shashwati means eternal. Actually, it doesn't mean eternal, it means very long. Very long years he enjoys, he spends. He lives in those worlds. And then, afterwards, what happens? Because at some point of time, you have to come back to Earth. Because you have not attained moksha. That is the basic rule of Veda. You can go anywhere, but you have to come back to Earth. You can go to Surga, you can go to Naraka, you can go to any loka. But you have to come back to Earth on your punya getting exhausted or papa getting exhausted. Now we are talking about punya because he is termed as a kalyana, so he will not go to Naraka, obviously. So he has gone to lokas which are meant for those who have got punya to their account. Many, many years he spends, and then he comes back to Earth. Then what happens to him? Shushinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashtaha Abhijayate. Yoga Bhrashtaha. He is no doubt Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta means he has fallen from yoga. He has fallen from the ideal of yoga. That doesn't mean that he is no good. It doesn't mean that. The word Bhrashta is normally understood as someone who is bad in our normal understanding of Dharma Shastra. One who has deviated from Dharma path is known as Bhrashta. But that is not the meaning to be taken here. Because he is saying Yoga Bhrashta. That means he has not attained yoga fully. If he had attained yoga fully, he would have gone for moksha. But that he didn't get. So he has fallen slightly from that goal. That is why he is called Yoga Bhrashta. So for that person, after spending many, many years in present Shuchina Srimatam Gehe Abhijayate, he is born in a household, Gehe, Griha, in such a household. What kind of household he is born? Shuchina Srimatam. Shuchi means pure. Pure people. In the house of pure people and prosperous. Srimatam. Pure and prosperous. Purity does not go with prosperity generally, isn't it? There must be very few people who are pure and prosperous. Normally, pure people are poor. But we are talking about Srimata. Why? Because he has practiced so much of yoga, only he has not reached the final goal. But the point is, here in this yoga, the point is, desire has not left him. A slight tinge of desire was still there in him when he left the body. What desire? Desire for pleasures of this world or the next world. That is why he has spent so many years in the next world. Ashwamedhadi Yaginam Lokana, Punyakritam Lokana, he is explaining our Adhirankara. Those who have performed Ashwamedha Yaga like that kind of punya, those lokas, he goes there. But since his desire was not fully extinguished, he went to those lokas, enjoyed all the pleasures, and he is born again in very prosperous because he is still having that tinge of desire. So very prosperous, but very pure because he has put in so much of effort on the path of yoga. So he should not, his mind should not go into impurity. So very pure, but at the same time very prosperous, very rich because he had a little bit of desire, tinge of desire in him. Now he has to make efforts to overcome that desire and advance on the path. So that is one alternative. For those whose desire is not fully extinguished. The second alternative. Athava means in the alternative. Otherwise, yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. This person, he will not go to all those punyakritam lokan and all that. He will not spend time in all those places. He will immediately be reborn in what kind of family? Dhimatam yoginam kule. Dhimatam means very intelligent. Very intelligent yogis. They themselves are yogis. In the family in which he is born, they are yogis themselves. That means his path is very simple now. His guidance is going to be there. In fact, this sloka is being interpreted by Adi Shankara. Buddhimatam daridranam yoginam kule. Very intelligent, great yogis, but very poor, as opposed to the previous one, Srimata. In fact, the sloka doesn't say Daridrana, but he is adding the term. Adi Shankara is adding the term because it is in opposition to the previous sloka. That man was born in very pure but prosperous family. Now he has to make efforts. But this man is born in a family of yogis. They are themselves yogis and very intelligent. Intelligent means what? Focused. Intelligent does not mean our worldly intelligence. Intelligence is focused on attaining Parama. Buddhimatam daridranam yoginam kule. Because here Vairagya is very strong. In the first case, Vairagya is a little bit weak. Doesn't mean that he is an ordinary man. No, not at all. He is not an ordinary man. He is a yogi. But slightly short of the final goal. This man is also short of the final goal. That is why he is coming back to earth. But he is a little more advanced than him. Both are short of the final goal. But this man is more advanced. He does not have any tinge of desire. Only thing is, his focus was not adequate. So he has to born again to complete his exercise. And he is qualifying the second case by another qualification. Etad durlabhataram loke janmayadisham etad he. This kind of janma, he with emphasis. This kind of janma loke idrisham. This kind of rebirth, durlabhataram, very, very difficult to get. The first one, he is not saying durlabhataram. Second one, he is saying durlabhataram. The commentator like Madhusudana Saraswati gives the example of Shuka Brahman for the second case. Shuka was born as the son of Vyasa, and then he was born as a born yogi, isn't it? Born sannyasi, born yogi. But he was still born. That is the kind of example. Like Sanaka, Sanatana, right? This example we saw right at the beginning, even at the introduction stage. Nivritti Marga. So they were also born, isn't it? They didn't attain moksha. If you had attained moksha, you will not be born. Shuka was born, Sanaka was born. Why they were born? Because they were a little short of the final goal. So that is how many Shukas you have, how many Sanakas you have. Very few, even in the entire Puranas, even in the entire history of Bharat. That is why he is saying Durlabhataram. The first one he is not saying Durlabhataram. Yes, that is possible. But you have to make more effort there. Here your effort is hardly anything. You have just come and go, that's all. And you will get moksha. So this kind of assurance is being given by Bhagavan. Two alternatives, he says, will happen to this yogi who has left his body without completing the exercise. Prapya punyakritam lokam ushitva shashwati samaha suchiyana srimatam gehe yoga brashto vijayate. Athava अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद् दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्मेदीदृशम्. I think we'll stop now. We'll continue tomorrow morning at 7 AM IST as usual. Any questions?
Anyone has any questions?
Mama, Shri Guru Namaha. Regarding the last two comparisons you're talking about, I think Krishna is something we can consider liberated one at this stage. So the one who has attained moksha.
Speak slowly. I can't. You are speaking too fast. I can't get what you are saying. Okay, tell me again.
So regarding last two shlokas, where we have the comparison between two people, one the auspicious and Srimanta, and the other one is the Yogendra and the very like Shuka Yogendra. Shri Krishna, where does he fall in that case? I think he has already attained the moksha. Moksha means the person who doesn't take
Krishna. You're talking about Krishna himself.
Yeah. So in which category does it?
No, wait. Krishna is an avatar. He is not a human being. He is Bhagavan taken a form. His body is not like human being. It is not made of Panchabhutas. That you must understand. All these avatars are not born as human forms. They are born only to help humanity. So you cannot compare Rama and Krishna and Vamana and Narasimha with ordinary humans. No. So the question doesn't arise, in fact. Okay. That is why he is called Bhagavan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Namaskaram. In the last two slokas, you are told that people have not reached the status of a yogi. In their next birth, they will be born in a family which is going to help them to really attain that. So, for normal people who are trying to follow this one in the present life, does that mean that whatever efforts they have made, that will not go waste? In the next birth, they will start from that starting point to progress further. Can we take it like that?
Yes. True, though that is not the subject here. That is not the subject here, because subject is for yogis, those who have followed the path of Dhyana Yoga. But your question is for ordinary people like us. Yes, and ordinary people also. There the question of karma comes. Whatever karma is to your account, that will shape your future. You may go to Sarga, you may go to Naraka, you may come back to earth, but you will not start with starting point of zero. Yes, that question is always there, because the old karma comes to your aid. It as positive aid. Let us take it as positive aid. Whatever dhyana you have done, whatever punya you have done, it is there to your account. So it will help you. There is no doubt about that. That is why this Nahi Kalyana Kashiti Dadvatam Tadakshati has got that wide interpretation. Okay. That statement has got that wide interpretation. Though it was made in the context of a yogi, it is also applicable to ordinary people. If you are in the category of Kalyana Kriti, you will not go to the Gati. He says clearly. So that applies to ordinary people. Yes, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No. Okay. We close for the day, and we meet again tomorrow at 7 AM IST. Namah Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Namadan Kirtanam Govinda Govinda Sri Rajarajeswari Jaya.
Thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you again tomorrow. Har Har Shankara Jai Jai.